This is the Global Wealth Show with Grant Conness and Andrew Costa.
At a young age, people very close to me were really hurt by the financial markets, and that drove me to be in this industry.
The vision was to change the industry.
Everybody calls this your nest egg, and I think of it as so much more than that. This is your life savings.
So being that guide, that coach for our clients is why we do what we do.
What we do could change someone's life.
The Global Wealth Show begins now.
Welcome to the Global Wealth Show. I'm Megan Mozak. Today, you'll learn cutting-edge financial strategies and tips on earning income for life and retirement. Joining me, South Florida's financial advisors, Grant Conness and Andrew Costa from Global Wealth Management. Grant and Andrew, they've been helping people plan successfully for retirement for nearly 28 years, and they're here to help you plan for the retirement you want. Of course, Grant, Andrew, it's always great to be with you.
Thanks, Megan. Good to see you.
You've been helping people here in South Florida, as we said, for a long time now, hundreds of clients, helping them plan for successful retirements. Why this industry, though? I know you love finance, but why retirement planning?
Well, it's a great question, Meg. It's been a long, windy road to kind of get to where we are today. But, I was born and raised here in South Florida. When I was 19 years old, I was a member of an undefeated national championship football team in college. While in college, I was actually a teacher, believe it or not, taught math, middle school math. And then I was actually, at the same time, I was fortunate enough to tour the country when I was in my mid-20s with a very successful musical group where we opened up for some international recording artists around the country. And then I entered the industry when I was 27 years old. And at that point, I helped a struggling financial advisor kind of turn his practice around and launch a very successful national organization. So I've always had that passion for helping people, being kind of a team player. And that kind of led to the connection with Andrew and I. We were friends growing up, our families were friends, and we were at a point in our careers where it really made sense to launch Global Wealth Management and help people on a further level.
You're right, this winding road. So a teacher, you have a finance degree, part of a band, part of a football team. So there is this idea of teamwork. And then you find your old friend, Andrew, and you guys have made this incredible partnership at Global Wealth Management. No singing career, no band background.
I didn't have the rock star career. I went to Florida State and studied finance, and I knew I wanted to be in the industry and in some capacity, and I had some family members in it, and I had in my younger life, I had some family members that had really been hurt by the industry, and so that sort of drew me to it and wanting to do it a little bit different and kind of change it up a little bit. And and then Grant and I got together and we just have a passion for helping people, and this industry really allows you to do that.
It really does. And as I mentioned, combined nearly 3 decades working, helping people. You come out of this teaching background, Grant, and of course you have some personal experiences that you said in your family that make you think, wow, there's an opportunity to really step in and help people at this crossroads. It is a crossroads of life. Tell me the fulfillment. What is it that keeps you going? What is it you love about your job?
Well, I think it's really, addressing the main concerns with folks when they come into the office. It's really 2 big questions we get a lot is, have I saved enough for retirement? And then if I'm in retirement, is my money going to last as long as I do? So coming up with plans for clients to assure them and allow that satisfaction and giving them the confidence to know that they're going to be all right, their money's going to last as long as they do, or questioning whether they've saved enough and to have a plan where they can envision what retirement is going to look like, I think is one of the most fulfilling things that we get to do day in and day out in our practice.
Andrew, when people come to you, they have a number of questions. A lot of times they feel lost on this road to retirement. I think the good news is you offer them a roadmap of sorts.
It's a roadmap, and I think the biggest thing is it's a checkup on what, it's almost like going to the doctor. You're making sure that what you've done already is okay. And I think that's what I really get a lot of excitement about is when I see, wow, there's some things here that are really broken, but we can help fix them before they become a problem. And then, this family and, husband and wife or whatever walk out and go, wow, I'm so glad that I fixed that before, it did affect me. It did become a problem, so.
each situation, each couple, each individual who comes to see you, they bring their own unique situation. Every day has to be different at Global Wealth Management, I would imagine.
It really is. I mean, everybody's unique. Everybody has a different story. But at the end of the day, you know, everybody is kind of seeking that goal. You know, they want to have the successful retirement. When you envision the word retirement, for a lot of people, what it means to them is the freedom of retirement. You know, doing the things you want to do, spending the time with the people you want to spend your time with. So allowing them to achieve that is definitely a gratifying thing.
So fulfilling what you do each and every day for your clients, and we'll continue in just a moment. Up next, Grant and Andrew, they share some of the most important things they've learned over the years advising their clients, and some of them just might surprise you. Later, how to make the most of your Social Security benefits. All that and more straight ahead on the Global Wealth Show.
From Social Security to taxes to not running out of money in retirement, South Florida's financial advisors Grant Conness and Andrew Costa have you covered. Join them and a team from Global Wealth Management at one of their upcoming workshops. Discover strategies that may help you maximize your Social Security benefits. Understand the potential impact taxes have on your retirement income, especially with recent changes to the tax laws. Or if you just want to learn ways to generate more income and decrease your risk, Global Wealth Management's workshops can help put you on the path toward a well-planned retirement. For more information and to register for a workshop near you, call Global Wealth Management today, 954-371-1200. That's 954-371-1200. Get the information that can help you live a confident retirement. Seats are limited and these workshops fill up quickly, so call now, 954-371-1200.
You're watching The Global Wealth Show with Grant Conness and Andrew Costa.
Glad to have you with us on the Global Wealth Show. I'm Megan Mozak here with Grant Conness and Andrew Costa of Global Wealth Management. They've been a part of the South Florida community for more than 40 years, and they help people just like you and me get to and through retirement. And Grant, Andrew, you tell me one of the biggest things that you help your clients with is an income plan. Income is king in retirement. We know this, not much retirement without it. Why is it so crucial?
It really is, Megan. You know, the thing is most people work, 30, 40 years in their career, and they accumulate money, and they have a paycheck coming in every 2 weeks, and they kind of put this money off to the side, and they set it, forget it, and life evolves, and they're busy, and they raise families, and all this stuff happens, and then all of a sudden, in a flash, this place called retirement comes their way, and this big pot of money is pushed in front of them, and they no longer have that paycheck coming in anymore. And it's scary for a lot of people, because what we found over the years is a lot of times people are good savers, they're diligent savers, they can accumulate their money, but they don't necessarily know how to make sure that money lasts as long as they do to get them into retirement and through retirement. And that's what proper planning does. That's what income planning does, is it allows them to build a plan out, to have the confidence of knowing that this money is going to come in every month when they no longer have that paycheck, and that money is going to last them for the rest of their life.
And Andrew, this is where that income planning starts, right? You have to start at the beginning, just like any plan. How do you take people through that process?
Well, it's interesting. We take those people through the process. It almost reminds me of back when you were, years ago, before we had all these, devices in our car that tells us where to go on the map. You know, it was the old-fashioned way. I was in the back seat of the car, mom and dad in the front seat, and we were heading on a road trip, and you'd get off course at some point, and I just remember, my dad would get a little angry about the fact that we're not on the right track, and he'd have to pull over and grab the map out, and they'd be arguing over the right route, and then they'd finally figure it out, and everybody's happy and you're back on track, but you waste 30, 40 minutes, figuring that out. And that's what a lot of people do in retirement. They get off track, and then all of a sudden, they're not receiving the right amount of income, or they've lost a bunch of money because the market went down. And luckily today, the new way we do it is we've got this device in our car, and it just tells us exactly where to go. And if we get off track, within 2 minutes, we're right back on the right street. And if you've ever sat there and you can kind of zoom out and see the exact track that you're supposed to go on, that's what a retirement income plan is. It allows you to zoom out and look at the picture and say, what are the variables that are going to happen over the next 20, 30 years? the market going down, or taxes in retirement, or where am I going to generate income from, and you can navigate through it before it becomes a problem, not after. So.
It's kind of like that GPS you were talking about in your car, how easy it is. And boy, kids these days, they don't know how good they have it. Dad doesn't get frustrated with that big map anymore. Let's go back to the nest egg. You were talking about that. People understand accumulation, right? Growing their nest egg. Sometimes, though, they get fixated on a number, right? I have to reach $1 million or $2 million or whatever that number is in their head. Grant, Andrew, you tell me it's not so much about that number, is it?
Not necessarily, Megan. You know, I think a lot of people do have something in mind, but that's also a thing where people are saying, you know, I've accumulated this money, I've worked all these years, now what? You know, once you get to that number, it's more important to understand, you know, what's that number going to provide you? You know, how are you going to generate income from what you've accumulated for all these years? And so I think that focusing, we call it the 2 phases of your life, right? You have your accumulation phase and the capital preservation and income phase. So to know when to make that switch from one phase to the other is essential. But once you get to that capital preservation and income phase, and let's call that 5 to 10 years out from retirement, is when you really need to start making that transition. You know, the difference between, you know, doing it successfully or not is making sure that you have a plan in place to know that your money is going to last and you're going to be able to generate the income that you need to provide for your lifestyle in retirement.
Andrew, I want to touch on that issue of a map and a plan and having that aerial view before you head out on your trip, your road to retirement, so to speak. You've seen up close and personal people who went into retirement without a plan versus people who had the plan first, and the difference in the success they had in their golden years. Talk about that.
Definitely, we see it all the time, and I think it's, you know, it's amazing. We have people that come in and they don't think they have enough. They think that you know, they take a small amount of income from their portfolio because they're so worried that they're going to run out. And then when we put the plan together, it allows them to visualize that they totally have enough, you know, to last. And there's really a very low likelihood of them ever running out. And then you have this other type of individual that is taking 6, 7, 8% from their portfolio, way too much. And they think it's going to be just fine, and you're having to have that tough conversation of, you know, we might need to back down a few things here, or work a little bit longer, or go get a second-time job or a second job or whatever, and you know, and so that plan does just allow you to visualize what the future is going to be, and it keeps you on track, just like the map.
Income and retirement, such a big situation for so many people, and of course, Social Security, that comes into play when you're talking about income. We're going to answer some of your biggest Social Security questions. That's straight ahead in Global Perspective. And later, Grant and Andrew tackle some of your biggest retirement questions. But first, here's how you can contact Andrew, Grant, and the team at Global Wealth Management. Stay tuned.
From Social Security to taxes to not running out of money in retirement, South Florida's financial advisors Grant Conness and Andrew Costa have you covered. Join them and a team from Global Wealth Management at one of their upcoming workshops. Discover strategies that may help you maximize your Social Security benefits. Understand the potential impact taxes have on your retirement income, especially with recent changes to the tax laws. Or if you just want to learn ways to generate more income and decrease your risk, Global Wealth Management's workshops can help put you on the path toward a well-planned retirement. For more information and to register for a workshop near you, call Global Wealth Management today, 954-371-1200. That's 954-371-1200. Get the information that can help you live a confident retirement. Seats are limited and these workshops fill up quickly, so call now, 954-371-1200.
You're watching The Global Wealth Show with Grant Conness and Andrew Costa.
Glad to have you with us on the Global Wealth Show today. How and when to take your Social Security benefits could be some of the most important retirement decisions you make. And you want to get those decisions right. In today's Global Perspective, Grant sheds some light on this important topic. Grant?
On today's Global Perspective, we're going to discuss how to maximize and optimize your Social Security benefits. How and when to take your Social Security benefits can have a significant impact on your income and your investment success in retirement. You see, most people believe that there's three ways to take a Social Security payment. You take it early at age 62, you take it at full retirement, whether that be age 66 or 67, or you take it late in retirement, which would be age 70. But in reality, there's over 500 ways to claim a Social Security check. So doing your homework and becoming educated on the process is absolutely essential to a successful retirement. So we're going to share the story of a great couple that came into the office recently, John and Jane, who were within 5 years of retirement. When they came into the office, their main goal was to retire at age 66 and start taking their Social Security benefits. Now, John was age 62 at the time when they came in the office, and Jane was 61. So John's full retirement income benefit for his Social Security at age 66 was $2,520 a month for the rest of his life. And Jane's Social Security benefit at age 66 was $1,185. To take it one step further, we took a look at John and Jane's investment portfolio, and we determined that John had a 401k worth $850,000. They also had a joint account of stocks and bonds worth about $350,000. They were invested in what we call a balanced investment approach, which was 60% stocks and 40% bonds. Their main goal in retirement, this is really important, was they wanted to generate $6,000 a month in after-tax income to support their lifestyle in retirement. So what we did from there was we ran a stress test into our income planning software, and we determined that if they did nothing else and they just took their benefits at face value at age 66 and kept their portfolio in that same balanced approach, they would have a 65% chance of their money lasting throughout their lifetime. Then what we did from there, we said, okay, well, what if we optimize those Social Security benefits? What if we didn't just take them at age 66, if we put a strategy in place? We took one of those 500 ways to claim a check. And what came back was that Jane would begin her benefits and her earnings record of $1,185 at age 66, which would be December 2022. John would then begin his benefits on his earning record in the amount of $3,293 in January 2025 at age 70. And then Jane would add spousal benefits for the total estimated amount of $1,260 at age 68 or in January 2025. So she would take 50% of John's benefit at that time. By doing so, they increased their probability of success in terms of their money lasting through retirement. So it then bumped up to about a 79% chance of their money lasting as long as they do. To take it one step further, we took a look at their investment accounts and their portfolio, and we ran a stress test on their portfolio, or risk analysis, to determine where it needed to be for retirement. You see, they were in this accumulation phase of their life throughout their working years, where they were growing their money at all costs. But now that they were approaching retirement, they really should have been in this capital preservation and income mindset as it related to their investments. So by doing this, by optimizing their portfolio along with their Social Security benefits, we were able to increase their probability of success to 97%. They now would have a 97% probability of their money lasting throughout their lifetime. So I ask you, what are you doing to make sure that your income lasts as long as you do in retirement? Are you simply taking your Social Security benefits at face value, where you could have a 65% probability of your money lasting throughout your lifetime? Are you taking the extra steps to maximize your Social Security benefits and optimize your portfolio to make sure that your money lasts as long as you do? You see, you only have one shot at retirement, and you cannot afford to get it wrong. So make sure you're taking the time to understand those benefits, maximize your Social Security, optimize your portfolio, and it'll give you the confidence and clarity to make sure that you have that successful retirement you deserve.
Thanks, Grant. So many options, very impactful insights. And coming up, Grant and Andrew answer some of your most pressing retirement questions in our Q&A segment. That's straight ahead. You're watching The Global Wealth Show.
From Social Security to taxes to not running out of money in retirement, South Florida's financial advisors Grant Conness and Andrew Costa have you covered. Join them and a team from Global Wealth Management at one of their upcoming workshops. Discover strategies that may help you maximize your Social Security benefits. Understand the potential impact taxes have on your retirement income, especially with recent changes to the tax laws. Or if you just want to learn ways to generate more income and decrease your risk, Global Wealth Management's workshops can help put you on the path toward a well-planned retirement. For more information and to register for a workshop near you, call Global Wealth Management today, 954-371-1200. That's 954-371-1200. Get the information that can help you live a confident retirement. Seats are limited and these workshops fill up quickly, so call now, 954-371-1200.
You're watching The Global Wealth Show with Grant Conness and Andrew Costa.
This is the Global Wealth Show. I'm Megan Mozak alongside Andrew Costa and Grant Conness, the founders of Global Wealth Management, serving the retirement needs of South Florida for more than 30 years. Now, Grant and Andrew, they help you not only get to retirement, but through retirement successfully. And now we want to take some time to answer some specific questions from you about your finances and retirement planning. So, Grant, Andrew, you ready to get going?
Yeah,
Ready?
All right, let's do this. Our very first question comes from Elaine, and she writes into us from Fort Lauderdale. She says, I'm considering buying an annuity with some of my savings, but there are so many to choose from. How do I know which type of annuity is right for me?
Well, Elaine, that's a great question, and we get asked that question all the time, and it's confusing for the consumer. You know, we actually Googled the word annuity one time and 19 million results came back. Buy this annuity, don't buy that annuity. Annuities are great, annuities are horrible. And unfortunately, as consumers, that's where we do our research, and that's where we try to make our decisions from these days. And so I think it's really important that you get an understanding of the different types of annuities that are available in the marketplace. There's 4 main types of annuities that are available. Some are pretty costly, some are variable annuities, can go up and down with the market. Sometimes there's fixed annuities that aren't paying a whole lot of interest even though they're safe. So I think it's really trying to understand and define what's important to you with respect to your annuity. Is it about keeping your principal safe? Is it about generating guaranteed income? Is it about getting growth from your investment accounts? Once you narrow that down, then I think it's really just selecting the best annuity for your particular situation.
And how do you take people through that process, Andrew?
Yeah, I would say the biggest thing, Elaine, is that you want to work with someone that is looking at the whole picture. So you're not just going to some insurance person that's just trying to sell you an annuity, and it's really on their agenda to kind of make sure they sell you the most they can in annuities or something. Maybe you have a certain amount of money and there's only a small portion that needs to go into an annuity because you're trying to guarantee a certain income to take care of the fixed expenses, or maybe you're just trying to protect a certain portion of your portfolio. So you want to go through a fiduciary advisor that's really trying to plan everything out. We have an annuity analyzer process that we do at Global Wealth Management that can just help you define if an annuity even fits, and if it does fit, why and which type and that type of thing.
So really looking at the entire portfolio, the whole person, their whole situation, and what they want out of retirement. Our next question is from Jim in Boca Raton. He says, my dad died about 5 years ago, and my mom has just continued working with the broker my dad had used for years. As far as I know, he takes good care of her, and he doesn't take advantage of her in any way. But because she's so much less involved than my dad was, I sometimes worry about it. How can I know for sure that she's in good hands?
Well, Jim, that's a great question as well. And I think it all starts with understanding the different types of advisors that are available in the marketplace. There's brokers, which would be, they work in a suitability capacity. So if you fit inside this box and you have a certain net worth and risk tolerance or objectives, the broker can sell you that investment, even though the investment may or not be in your best interest. And then you have what's called a fiduciary advisor, who is required by law to work in the best interest of his clients at all times, and they're kind of held to that higher standard. So I think that when you're looking at different types of advisors, you're interviewing advisors, whether it's the current advisor or other advisors that are out there, you definitely, the first thing you want to do, the first box you want to check, if you will, is that they are indeed a fiduciary advisor and they're really there to work in your best interest as a client.
Is there a way to tell for sure that you are working with a fiduciary, Andrew? There's
definitely a way to tell. I mean, you can ask. That's the first thing you can do. But it's interesting because I almost look at that conversation and I say, imagine going to a doctor and you check in and you see the nurse and and usually the nurse would do a bunch of tests on you and stuff, and it's the first time ever seeing this doctor, and they do nothing. And then the doctor just walks in and looks at you and kind of says a few words and just says, you know, you look like you need Lipitor here, you know, and they haven't even really done any tests. And you know, that would be almost more like this suitability broker. You know, you kind of you fit the bill, so here's this. With a fiduciary advisor, that doctor would be saying, hey, let's do a whole, you know, run-of-the-mill, let's look at all the tests, let's look at everything that's going on, and you're either good or there's a few things that we need to fix. And they're really looking out for your best interests. So yeah, you really want to make sure that you're working with a fiduciary advisor. Ask the questions, what are we doing here? What capacity are we working in?
Our next question comes from Gail in Weston. She says, I've talked to 2 different financial advisors about the likelihood that I can comfortably retire at the age of 55, which is 5 years away. One of them says I should work longer. The other says that I can go ahead and retire at 55. I was originally inclined to work with the guy that tells me to go for it, but how do I know he's not simply telling me what I want to hear?
Well, Gail, I think maybe you need to get a third opinion and then maybe see where you're at. But I think it's really making sure that, depending on what advisor you're speaking with, that they are taking the time to properly find out what's important to you for retirement. How much money you've saved, what do you plan to do in retirement, envision what that's going to look like, expenses, things of that nature, and then make sure that they're crafting a plan. Because if you can visualize what a plan's going to look like, you know, when we think about Social Security, you're thinking about a pension or investment income and where this all comes into play, I don't think it's really a guessing game at that point. You know, you have a formalized plan that's really spelled out, and it's pretty easy at that point to determine whether you're good or not, because we do that a lot of times for clients, and we either know that they're in a good position and they can retire, or they're on track to retire in 5 years, or that they're not. And you know, once you go through that process and you have a detailed plan, I think it's an easier decision to make.
Is getting multiple opinions a good idea, Andrew?
Yes, Gail. I mean, get that second opinion, that third opinion. Like Grant said, there will be almost no guesswork once you have that plan in place. You will know I'm okay to retire, or I need to keep going. You know.
As always, appreciate your insights. Great to be with you today.
You too, Megan. Thanks.
If you have a question, you can call the number on your screen or visit askglobalwealth.com at any time. You heard the information, so why wait? Take action and call now. For Andrew Costa, Grant Conness, and the team at Global Wealth Management, I'm Megan Mozak, hoping you have a great day and an even better retirement.